Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back. Let me add some sound here. Welcome back to Gwent. My name is Rooster and this is Nilfgaard. Not only Nilfgaard, but one of the more refined Nilfgaard decks at the moment actually. And people have started to converge towards a deck list for Nilfgaard, well, at least at the higher ranks of the ladder, that looks somewhat like this. Of course, there's still a lot of variation, a lot of experimentation still going on. And this list you see here is not without its experimental cards by itself, but I've been playing it a little bit and liking it a lot so far. So the main feature here, of course, is the rod tossers, who have been really outperforming themselves. Very, very useful in the way of removing very big things from your opponent, assuming there's nothing other important of importance on the same row. Also useful for getting rid of your own Cantarella, for example, which is excellent. And other than that, the usual big minions, revealing a random card in your hand, not as big a price as it first may seem, except maybe in the Nilfgaard mirror if your opponent happens to run some synergy. Black Infantry Arbalest, there's a lot of buffing going on nowadays, so 10 value bronze card, definitely valuable. Murktabraki, mostly to set up big scorches, but also a nice little combination with Yennefer the Conjurer, which is very powerful right now, even after the nerf today, I think. So she has been reduced from 7 to 5, but still definitely usable in the more control-y decks, like the one we're running here. What else have we got here? Siri for card advantage as usual. We've got Stefan Skellen to basically find the perfect answer at the perfect time for us. I'm thinking of including a Geralt Igni in the deck, and that would mean one of these will have to make way, so I'm not really sure about that yet, but for now we're running Scorch to get rid of big things, and Scorch has been really making a comeback, so that's nice. Also for card advantage, we're using Ockfist. Only returns the hand once now, but still getting one card advantage out, definitely viable. I'm running a Singleton Combat Engineer. Just a little cute inclusion, I'm not really sure about it yet, but it has been a powerful card in a lot of Nilfgaard decks. Not sure whether it fits this exact deck. As well as the Vicovaro Medic, which is basically a metagame dependent card. I haven't really tried it a lot, because for some reason I haven't opened a single copy in over 70 kegs yet. So I just crafted one, and we'll see how important the card is. We're not running a lot of disloyal units, especially no disloyal bronzes. So we'll have to see how valuable this card really is. That being said, let's go and hop into some games. For the moment I've been sticking to casual, mostly because my casual matchmaking rating is actually quite decent right now. I don't really know how decent it is, of course. I could run something like Deck Tracker for that, but for now, well, first of all, my connection has been quite unstable for the past few days, so I don't want to subject my ranked rating to that. And second of all, the metagame is very unstable. There seem to be some issues with the ranked queue, with people not gaining as many points as they should be getting. Not really sure how much is true about that, but for now I'm perfectly happy to just mess around in casual queue and try a lot of the different new decks, and that's perfectly fine. We're up against Francesca, so I definitely don't want to keep all of these Arbalests, but first let's get rid of a First Light, I think, and then ditch 2 Arbalests. And that's a pretty good haul, I'd say. Getting a lot of gold and silvers out is actually quite neat. And whenever this Scoia'tael player starts, you're never too sad about that situation either. So let's start with Jennifer the Conjurer. The Conjurer? Not really sure. It is Conjurer, right? And an immediate pass. I'm perfectly happy to take this round with just an Arbalest, I think. That should be fine. People still really scared of this card for some reason. I'm happy to take the round with just one card of advantage. And we can now use Uckfist and Ciri to get a bigger one. I'm not really sure whether it was worth using Jennifer that early, but we're perfectly happy to just fight for the second round instead. Nilfgaard, as usual, gets a redraw every other turn. I'm thinking of throwing away the Ulzar's Thunder. Yeah. Because our hand is stacked right now. I'm pretty happy with that. And we've got Cantarella. Should probably start with that, I think. Just drawing a card and we can use the Cow Carcass to get rid of her.
Hide from me.
Was that? Okay. So Cantarella needs a little getting used to. I'm perfectly happy getting the Rod Tosser here, so that means we have to end selection. Do not click the card that you want to pull. That's a mistake that a lot of people will make, and I will be making that mistake a lot in the future. You see a card, you want the card, don't click it. Don't click it, because that's the card that will go back to the bottom of your deck. So, are we expecting a Fireball Trap? I'm not quite sure. If that is a Fireball Trap, what do I want to play with it? Actually, let's go with the Nilfgaardian Knight. And that is indeed a Fireball Trap, which has changed to now spawn a Neophyte, but only deal 3 damage. I'm fine with this deal. And that revealed the card in our hand, which is Cynthia. I'm perfectly fine with playing Cynthia here. So that is excellent. We'll also probably use Stefan Skellen to find our final gold card and put it on top of our deck. We might want to actually draw that somewhere during this turn. And this is a little awkward in that we can now no longer use the Cow Carcass to get rid of Cantarella, unless we shoot it with Martebraki first. I think I'm actually okay with that. Not sure about it. We can actually use the Cow Carcass and then shoot the Commando Neophyte afterwards. I think I like that approach. But let's play Ciri first and just see what our opponent's up to first. That's an awkward Neophyte spawn for us. Maybe we should have gone with the Cow Carcass anyway. Cow Carcasses are a little dangerous to use in the Scoia'tael matchup, which is why I'm a little hesitant on them. Maybe I shouldn't even have kept them with the Mulligan or with the Cantarella. That might have been a mistake, because they're really dangerous to use because the Scoia'tael player can flip them back onto you with a Blue Mountain Commando, and that would really suck. Now, traps being placed in the Cantarella row, actually we might not even care that much about Cantarella here. What are we going to do? That's a great question. What are we playing around with the traps here? Let's go and play Uckfist. Run him into another Fireball Trap, but that's okay. Let me take a little sip of my coffee. I've been catching a cold lately, so if I sound a little strange, then that's probably what happened there. Okay, he got rid of Uckfist. I was a little confused there, but that's definitely what happened. Alright, that's fine, that's fine. We still got our card draw. We're going first though, so we're not getting a lot of use out of that. Let's actually use Stefan right now and then force our opponent to go a little longer. I think that's okay. So we're going with, yeah, that is the most important part here. So let's take care. We could also go with the Vico Medic, because if our opponent is using Blue Mountain Commandos, then Vicovaro is a really good play because it can fish all of those Blue Mountain Commandos out of the graveyard in one fell swoop. So that's really strong. Could have also gone with the Lacerate in our deck, but Aromancy can still do a decent job at that. So not entirely needing to use that, I think. We're still doing fine in the strength department. I kind of want to use Morvran at some point. Actually, yeah, that's probably fine. We can use Morvran after we use Cynthia to discover a bit more of our deck. So using Cynthia here, basically to draw the cards that we've got with Stefan, which is a nice play. Just so you've got that one available to you immediately. I'm not really sure what our opponent's doing here. Why would you... What is happening? I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. I think I'll actually... The fireball traps make the cow carcasses really awkward, but I think I'll toss one onto... the melee row. Just as a preventative thing, so we can use another carcass to get rid of the 8 power golem. I'm expecting it to be flipped onto our half here, and that's what we have marked to Braki for, to kill that. And what else do we want to kill? We could actually go and kill one of the Blue Mountain Commandos in the case of us getting a Blue Mountain Commando. That's probably okay, right? So let's do that. Kill one of these guys. Gals. Whatever. Kill the cow carcass. And that's another use of Mark Tabraki in this deck, and that's really flexible. So that's why I like including her. Now we want to probably use Morvran at some point. We want to use K here, and then we'll see. We won't have any card advantage going into the last round, which is a shame, but you can't really expect to have that against Scoia'tael, I think. Perhaps if we can get a strength lead, perhaps using Aromancy, that could be a thing that works. It's a shame we couldn't use the cow carcass, but that's probably fine. There's the golem, alright. Do we wish to fight even more for this round, or... Yeah, we probably do, right? Let's go and use Morvran right now. See if we can get anything meaningful. Scorch will kill both the golem... Oh, it will actually kill Cantarella, which is fine, and probably the most useful one right now. That's a 12-point swing, and the Arbalest is 10... And we're not counting on getting the Scorch anytime soon, so Scorch is perfectly serviceable. Alright, and that closes the power gap rather nicely.
The storm is coming. Let's enjoy the weather while we still
Alright, and more stuff is coming. Perhaps we should have used Merc Tabraki to kill the fireball trap on the siege row. That would have been a better play, I think, because that would have allowed us to kill 3 neophytes with 1 cow carcass. That could have been pretty great. Right now, cow carcass on the melee row only kills the mercenary. That's a bit of a shame. Not really sure about that. 13 points behind. I think I'll actually use the first light to rally, just to thin our deck a little bit. That's a bit of a shame, especially since nothing is debuffed on her side of the field. So let's actually do that plan right now. Kill the fireball trap so we can throw a carcass on the siege row. Are we really willing to go this deep? Yeah, I actually think we do. Because the Aromancy is now also an 11 point swing, that's pretty big. And forcing her to go all the way makes Francesca weaker. I think I like it, yeah. Getting the double Francesca is not really all that worthwhile for her. And meanwhile, getting a double use out of Morvran for us is pretty great. So yeah. But let's first see if the cow carcass on the siege row is going to be worth it for us. Actually, we probably should use KR first if we're going to want to make any use of him, right? Yeah. That's probably fine. So she's probably using Francesca now, which lets us throw the carcass on the siege row. So that is fine. And then we get Aeromancy, and we should probably use Aeromancy this turn actually, and then just leave Morvran for the final turn, I think. That seems fine. If they flip the cow carcass on us, then that's actually perfectly okay, I think. So carcass on the siege row. Let's see if they have the final commando. That could be a thing that happens. Oh, actually, Yavin. But Yavin gave us a bit of strength. And we just got our leader powers back. So we could go with Aeromancy on the melee row right now, which is actually pretty good. Or we could just pass, and they have to make up for both the 6 strength lead. Yeah, let's actually pass here. So the cow carcass gives us an 19 point strength lead. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. There's no reason to commit the Aeromancy on the melee row here, because they've likely got a Gleis to clear the weather, which is actually good for them now, since they get the power from the Neophyte and the Eliran back. But not enough to catch up, so they will have to spend both of their cards, and perhaps even the Francesca, to get a better card in hand, so yeah. Plus we also get the added benefit of getting Ciri back in the case that we lose here. So we should be pretty well positioned for the last turn, I think. That is a curious card. Oh, and that removed the weather immunity from Yavin. That's actually really cute. But that ties the score, unfortunately, so they will have to spend their very last card here. That is amazing. I never had thought to find some use for it, Lyn. That's pretty nice. Well played. But there is no way they're getting away with not playing their last card here, and that's a shame. And scorches their own golem! Oh no! Disaster! Oh, that's painful. Well, good game, ma'am. Good game. That was painful. Alright, well, let's go into the next game. There's a little bit of a bug where you can't press the next button, but you can still use the buttons over the top, so that is fine. But in case you're really curious about your rewards for your daily wins, then you can just click the buttons up there and still check them out. Oh my, that was a painful game. But that's the risk of actually running Scorch in a deck with mercenaries in it.
Prepare for war.
Alright, so Nilfgaard versus Nilfgaard. This could be an exciting one. Let's throw away one Arbalest. Throw away one First Light, I think, although I'm also not the biggest fan of Lacerate in this matchup, so I think we'll go for that one first. We're only running 2 First Light anyway, so I'm not incredibly attached to them. And let's go with the First Light indeed. Alright. We're going first. I'm not sure what's the correct call here. Actually, if they have a cow carcass, can we counter that? Yeah, I was thinking of playing Ockfist, and we could counter a cow carcass from the opponent with a cow carcass of our own, but that's actually not that great, so let's start with Yennefer. See if we get a free win on the first round. Probably not, because, well, winning the first round is actually quite important, and I don't expect to get so many first round wins for free, but that was certainly a nice gift from our opponent last game. Let's see how he's willing to fight this. We actually don't have too many tools to make the best use of Yennefer right here, but there goes Ockfist. So that means that we can probably throw a cow carcass his way and see if he has a way to deal with it. I would be okay with that. Let's try that. And it also gives us some protection should we use our own Ockfist on our Citro. Let's see if he has an answer here. Of course, we didn't need to use the cow carcass immediately, but it's fine, it's fine. You can see how important the rod tossers are for this matchup. And he's giving us the round. Alright, there's no risk in passing here, right? Alright. So, let's see, we are starting next round, so that means that our own Ockfist is probably a decent idea. And we don't have the greatest cards ever to win the card advantage war. I'm thinking throwing away... Actually, let's throw away an Arbalest, because it's basically the same as throwing away a First Light, I think. So we want to start with Ockfist, and then we'll see what our opponent has to say about that. We could actually use a rally in the hopes of getting something on the Citro. That's a little optimistic though, I think. Just an Elzer's Thunder, that's probably fine. We might want to use our hero power just in case of him having a K here himself. That could be a lot of resets actually, if we're running the K-Air mirror. That could be interesting. And I also kind of want to use a First Light of my own, but I can't really do that. Actually, using Morvran here is also bad, so let's use a Nilfgaardian Knight. Revealing a First Light in our hand, not the worst. And then we'll see. It's good to have a target on your side and a target on your opponent's side before... Ooh, can we flip that? I don't think we can. We could try using Morvran to find Merktebraki. Other than that, we'll have to let it go, I'm afraid, because this one only removes strength from an opposing unit. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Could use First Light, but that's really optimistic. Yeah, unless we get a Merktebraki here, but that's worth it, I think.
All battles need end in bloodshed.
We get Elzer's Thunder. Is that worth it? Well, it is worth it in the sense that we're keeping an 11 strength unit on the field. So in that aspect, it's okay. Scorch is terrible. Arbalest is not great. Gives us 8 strength on the board. Let's actually Elzer's Thunder the cow carcass. That feels really bad. But I think it's the better result here. Alright, he can try it again. That is probably okay. He's expending a lot of resources from that. And if we play either Stefan or K here, then we're actually fine. We have another cow carcass, so I kind of want to go and find... Cantarella here. So let's put her on top of our deck and then draw a card with Cynthia. I could have gone with the Merktebraki, but we should have seen that coming, and that's a little hard to anticipate, I think. Could also go with the Combat Engineer. Keep something around for next round. That's a little tricky. Okay, let's go with Cantarella because I like drawing cards. And getting rid of Cantarella with the cow carcass is always useful. So that's pretty great. If our opponent allows us to do that, of course. Alright, so one thing we could do... Well, actually, we really should use Cynthia at this point, so let's go and do that. Draw the Cantarella to our hand. We don't care about losing this round, we just care about getting some card advantage back, and we're not doing too good of a job right now. Unfortunately. Perhaps we should have put Ciri on top. Interesting. Another one. Well, it's certainly a cow battle here, but that's okay if our opponent's expending a lot of resources here. Oh, and actually the Vicovaromatic blocks our cow carcass play on the ranged row. But we actually do have a decent target in the melee row now, so that is actually fine. Let's go and draw our cards. Oh, I definitely want Ciri here, so that's good. Make sure to right-click there, cancel selection, so you draw Ciri and you don't put her on the bottom of your deck. That is such a feel-bad when that happens. And we should probably use at least one First Light pretty soon. Alright, so we're doing okay in the card advantage battle right now. Pretty happy with that. Shackles, alright, well that's cute. Is he expecting to use another cow carcass here? I'm not sure. How good is Aeromancy here? Aeromancy is a 10, right? It removes 10 strength from the melee row. I'm just counting strength at this point, because we should be able to actually win if our opponent chooses to pass, and that could be a little dangerous. But Rod Tosser on the siege row is 12, is actually 16 strength, that's pretty good. So that brings us up to 31, and then Aeromancy. Okay, so we can win in 2 cards even. So we'll be fine for quite a while. Especially if our opponent... Oh, well, actually, if they use the golem, then that golem is not going to be affected by Aeromancy because of the shield. But that's okay. We can force them to expend a lot of resources here, and that's what we're actually going for. So next turn, probably First Light. That is not very impressive, so that's pretty good for us. Yeah, let's go and use the First Light here. To rally.
It must triumph.
Getting an 11 strength unit out is pretty good, even though it does reduce our frost effectiveness, so we should keep that in mind. Might even want to use the other one also. Not quite sure about that. Can we still win if we... Well, we can cow carcass on the melee row now for 8 strength, and then... no. Not really. Do we want to extend the round even longer? We could play K here. It's probably in our favor, seeing as he has Triss in hand, which is a rather strong card right now. Could also... Yeah, I kind of want to use the second First Light, just to improve the quality of our draws a little bit. So how about we use K here? Yeah, that should be fine. We also have a 10 strength Arbalest in hand, so that should scare him a little bit. As long as we think we can still win this round, it's worth extending it. So we were equaling cards over there, and that means that we can't really get any great... Oh, we could actually gain some value from K here in the final round. That's curious. So we could actually do that. Well, that's a little late to consider that now, but we can just counter his cow carcass with a cow carcass of our own. How about that? Is that worth doing, or should we save that for the last round? Can we still win if we play a card here? Yes, we certainly can. Even if we lose 11 strength, I think we still can. So let's First Light again. First Light to rally, and keep something around for next one. Well, that's gonna be Stephen Skellen. So that's okay. Keeping a 6 strength is fine. And if he uses Triss to hurt Stefan here, then I'm perfectly fine with this so far. Oh, he hasn't used a single gold card yet. That's actually quite amazing. So how do I feel about this round? I think I'm fine with passing by now. Even though we do have a 12 strength Aromancy or a 12 strength Carcass. We could play one more card and see if he bites. Actually, he already knows we have this in hand, so I think I'm fine with using this one. I think we can win with this. Ooh, that's dangerous, sir. Okay, so what can we do here? We can Aromancy, we can Cow Carcass, that's a 16 and an 11. A 16 and a 10. So that's a 26, that brings us to 53, so if we can find 7 strength with Morvran here, then we can win. That seems like a bet I'm willing to take. So let's make sure we Aromancy the melee row, so we can pick a melee unit. But that's fine. We can actually just take Lacerate here, and that should be okay. So we use this on the siege row, and then we frost the melee row. And that brings us to a win. There we go. And that is why you always consider very, very carefully whether it's worth to pass it or not. Especially with no information on your opponent's hand. Alright. Let's give it one more game, shall we? Just to get a little bit of an idea of what the deck's supposed to do. We're very much just in the exploratory stages of the newest patch. It's like playing a completely different game, by the way. It's the metagame has completely shifted around. None of the old decks are really there anymore. Oh, let me re-queue here. And well, it's the Wild West. Nobody knows what they're doing anymore, and it's great. It's the greatest thing ever. This is these are the honeymoon stages of any new expansion. It's when nobody knows what they're doing, and it's marvelous. So Dagon, we've been seeing a lot of Dagon Consume decks lately, actually. So that's what I'm betting on here. Weather monsters can be a bit of a pain. So let's also keep that in mind, but that is a bad matchup for us, so let's not make it too hard on ourselves. If we're facing Consume, then Alzar's Thunder is really strong. Same for Rotasser, actually. Combat Engineer, a little iffy. Arbalest is good. Nilfgaardian Knight, perhaps a little disappointing, so let's not keep that one. And then probably the Engineer, and I like most of the other cards, actually. What do I not want to draw here? Arbalest could be better, I guess. Well, having some kind of anti-weather is really good. Alright. So, what are we starting with? That's a great question. That is actually a really interesting question. We could go with Morvran first, actually. I don't hate it. Just to find something worth using right in the first turn. That's what the Nilfgaardian Knights are really good for, by the way. And that was actually what I was hoping to find, at the very least. So that's a good one. We've revealed K. We can see our opponent mousing over the cards. It can be a bit of a challenge to know what all the new cards do at first glance. And looks like our opponent is actually playing Consume, so that's okay. What are we doing with that? That means we can probably use Stefan to good effect. And then use Cynthia to draw into the card we're looking for. What card are we looking for? That's a great question. I'm pretty sure that I can find the perfect card for this situation here. I'm thinking Yennefer, actually. Not sure how deep our opponent's willing to go here, but Yennefer seems pretty great right now. Let us go with her. Even after the strength reduction on Yennefer, she's looking pretty good. So in case you missed that one, Yennefer only deals damage to your opponent's board right now. Is our opponent even going for this round? He's playing a lot of small stuff, and I'm not sure whether he's actually willing to commit right now or not. That's 2 additional Neckers in his deck, so we could just go for Cynthia here, just make sure we have that on hand.
I'm impressed.
And then probably use Yennefer in a later round, because this is not a horrible pass for him. Alright, well, it looks like our opponent's actually going for it. So if we throw him a cow carcass at this point, then he might as well just consume it. But if, once he starts consuming, then it might be too late already. So how about we go with Yennefer? If he's playing an Arrakis Behemoth, then he's most likely willing to actually invest in this round, so that means that we should be willing to do that too. And here the train starts rolling. So Yennefer shoots the strongest thing on his board every single turn, and that means that probably means we should kill the Arrakis Behemoth before next turn. Actually, let's go toss him a cow carcass. If he's willing to consume that one, then I'm actually fine with it. Because he might have to spend the Friend Warrior on the cow carcass, which is really useful. Could have an Ekimara, which is the perfect counter here. So that means that the Friend Warrior will eat the Arrakis Behemoth next turn, which is really good for us if that happens, because that means he's no longer getting any Arrakis. So that's pretty helpful. We can... Actually, shooting all 3 of these is also pretty good, although this one eats a 5 before that happens, so that's a little ugly. We cannot scorch anything right now, so perhaps we should just kill this one. I think that's actually reasonable. Because he will eat the Arrakis Behemoth next turn, so that means that we can just shoot this one and we'll be pretty safe. Unless he places an additional minion on the siege row. Yeah, I would be fine with that. So using the Golem, not getting a strength lead yet, so that's good. The Golem does eat a couple of Yennefer charges, which is really a little unfortunate. Can we do anything about that? We could use Merktebrake to soften them up a little bit. That's going to be a little awkward, regardless. How does a cow carcass sound? Not right now. I can say that much. Yeah, how about we use Keir right here? That forces him to use weather or to muster something. I think I like it.
I am no Nilfgaard.
Let's go with Keir here. And then he eats the behemoth, so no more value train unless he places another one, of course. But he's not getting any insane value at this point, which is absolutely fine with me. Let's see, we could bring the Friend Warrior down to the same level as the Golem. I'm not sure it's worth all the effort. We could just scorch him right here and be done with it. He's played the Arrakis last turn. He's forced to use Dagon next turn, so that's also nice. Actually, we don't have to scorch yet in that case. But what else do we want to use? Actually, he has to use Dagon here, so if we use a cow carcass on the siege row, then he's kind of out of luck. He's not consuming yet, so that will be pretty good. Alright, let's go kill that behemoth over there. That seems like the right call. He's going to want to use his Dagon hero power here. But any row he weathers, he's also hurting his own units with, so he wants to use it for rally right now. He's choosing to fog? Not sure about that. He's taking 7 from me, but also 6 from himself. Yeah, that's gonna be a rally. Alright, and that's unlikely to go into the siege row, unless he gets... Ooh, he could have gotten a lucky egg there. Actually, does that matter? Yeah, that certainly matters, because the cow carcass would have killed the egg instead. That would have sucked. What else do we want to use here? We could kill some eggs. That's probably the right call. We just wanna prevent him from getting anything huge for the next round, which is pretty sweet. Anything else we want to shoot at this point? He's going to eat the behemoth, so I don't really care too much about that. In that case, we should probably still shoot the Ren Warrior, right? So killing that, killing the other egg. Can't let those eggs get out of hand. That's pretty dangerous. So eating the behemoth so he doesn't get any additional rakas. And now Yennefer is poised to kill... Oh, actually, he doesn't get to eat anything. Wait, what was our plan with that? I don't really remember at this point. Because the Vren was going to eat the behemoth anyway. Why did we throw a carcass in there? Alright, he gets some more neckers in his deck. But at this point he's pretty far behind, and he's also keeping a Vren, a Necker Warrior with his passive. I don't think he can catch up in one card anymore, so perhaps we should just pass at this point. Pass while we're ahead. We've got Yennefer on 7, decimating his board. I don't think he can catch up in one card. That might be famous last words, but I think we're positioned quite well if we just give him the round here. And even if he spends 2 cards, then we'll be in excellent shape regardless. You might want to actually just play something huge to keep it for next round, though. What would that be, though? He's already used 2 Vren Warriors. He's used 2 behemoths, so he can't keep that one. He could use K-Run, I guess, but he would have to spend another card besides that. Oh, that's a cute one. I keep walking headfirst into that card. People keep playing it, and I keep falling for it. It's insane. The strength swings of that thing are ridiculous. Did we have nothing weaker on hand? Oh my gosh. I keep getting wrecked by that thing. We shouldn't have passed. We shouldn't have passed with Ciri in hand. But I honestly believed we couldn't lose that round with him just spending 1 card. But that's a shame.
It's time.
Alright, and there goes our card advantage. This is how things start to go downhill, guys. Be careful. Well, at least we can Morvran for some advantage, and we can first light and see what we get. Is any bronze card fine at this point? We could get a Caretaker... Probably okay. Probably most of our cards are okay, except Combat Engineer. Perhaps we should be careful with that. Use Morvran first, yes.
My men know the meaning of sacrifice.
This is still fine. It's still a 10, and we get something on the board. And leaving the Necker quite small is still in our advantage. So what's gonna happen? Another Necker Warrior? That's not too impressive, to be honest. That's actually quite weak. So yeah, let's first light and see what we get. He can force us to spend cards, but he's going first with that. We don't want to kill the Necker, I think. I'm pretty sure we don't. And we can probably also use the second first light as rally. What's he gonna use? Is that a decoy or something, or a swallow potion? I'll happily scorch that if he has a swallow potion. And Griffin... You should actually be careful when you use a Griffin against the Nilfgaard opponents, because that might actually give them a target to resurrect with their Vicovaros. For now, let's go with another First Light, I think. We also want to use this Combat Engineer, but I would like to find a better target for it. So if this becomes exactly that one, then that would be sweet. Let's hope our opponent plays another card here, because I would like to Adrenaline Rush that 11 strength unit over there. This also makes our Scorch rather weak, so that's the downside, I guess. Did we mulligan anything useful at the start of this round? Yeah, I think we mulliganed one of these guys, and we wound up with all three of them regardless. Oh, please don't do this to me. Well, I guess we can mulligan this guy next round, right? Yeah, so that's the advantage of the Nilfgaard passive, but if you have too many cards that are situational, then you can end up with two of them in your hand in the last round, and you're still kind of screwed. That card could be nice, though. So let's throw away this one, because that's by far the most useless unit right now. And we're starting, so that's pretty bad. Let's start with a gold unit and then take a look at his graveyard to see if there's anything useful in here. We could go with the Guardian, I guess. That's that's the most useful thing that's in here. Oh, we can't actually resurrect that because it's not a bronze unit. That's actually quite horrible. And this guy is just going to keep eating and eating and eating and eating. That's horrible. We should probably scorch that before it goes too far. For now, let's shoot the Necker and... Yes. So we can scorch that before it eats anything else. And then hope that he doesn't have anything else that's good. Yeah, scorch that right now before it eats the Necker, because then another Necker would come out and things would start to go downhill pretty fast from there. So what is that? Another Thunderbolt Potion, oh my. I'm not really sure if there's much we can do over here. We could grab a Fran Warrior, which isn't great. Probably just grab an Arrakis Behemoth at that point, even though that's kind of horrible. It is the best value we're gonna get, I think. Just a 6. That's how bad Vicovaro Medic sometimes can be. Well, it is still an 8 power play right here. Oof. Well, at least his cards kind of suck, but his last card has to be a complete blank for him to lose here, so yeah, that kind of sucks. And he still had a gold card, unfortunately. Well, we tried our best, but we really should not have made that pass in the first round. We should have just kept playing, because he could win in one card. Yeah, although, do you really play around Becker's Twisted Mirror? I couldn't think of a card that would win him that round, so can't really blame myself, but that was certainly my fault. Alright, that is it for this video, so hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and as usual, I'll be back soon with another exciting deck to try in the new patch.